I hate hookup culture. Hookup culture is so insanely popular these days, and I hate to sound like that one, person who doesn't get any partners, who doesn't have any relationships, and is like, oh my god, like, what happened to true love? Like, nobody even wants to, like, have a relationship nowadays. But that is sometimes what it really feels like. Like, the only way you can connect with another person is through hooking up, and no one is really interested in an actual relationship these days. And I didn't really have a problem with hookup culture until I saw some of the really toxic and unhealthy relationships that were being spewed from it, as well as just the overall expectation from anyone I try to connect to or get to know, that that's what I'm looking for, a hookup, like a little one and done, when really I'm clearly expressing romantic interest. And when I say unhealthy relationships, I don't just mean like, oh, this is a couple. I just mean with the way that people the way that people connect with one another, the way that people interact with one another. You may hook up with one person, and now there's this weird kind of dynamic between you where you might want something more than the hookup. They want only the hookup, and you choose to just stay with the hookup knowing that you don't want that, and hurting yourself because you're like, this is the closest I can get to them. I hate that. I feel like that's dumb. It's stupid. Why are you doing that to yourself? Why are you literally harming your own emotional well-being? It just makes no sense to me. And really, I think the reason that it's so popular, once again, this is, in my opinion, is that people are lonely. Loneliness hurts. Being alone hurts. Not having, someone you can call yours hurts a lot. And to fill that hurt, to fill that kind of void from a lack of emotional intimacy, people look to hookups to sort of fill that hole in themselves. And of course, there are people who just enjoy hookups. Like, they're fine with that. They're not hurting themselves by doing that. This is a culture that they can participate in without having any negative side effects. And 100%, if that's you, do what you're doing. Live your life. Just be safe out here. Don't get knocked up. Like, it's I don't know. That's you. That's your personal responsibility. I'm not here to tell you what to do, really. I'm just expressing my own opinions. But try and be safe, or ruin your life. Like, once again, it's up to you. But back to my main point, some individuals feel that physical intimacy, and not just like hugs, kisses, and yada yada, but like literally hooking up with someone, will fill that void, and the loneliness hurts, and they're not comfortable with sometimes sitting with being alone. And like I said in my previous video on why you don't want a relationship, people aren't happy with themselves. They don't love themselves. They're not able to just exist as a solitary individual just by themselves. They have to feel the need to be connecting with another person in that way. And sometimes it does do that. It does fill that void, but it's usually temporarily, because once that glow is over, once the one and done is over, now you're left feeling empty. Sometimes you're feeling self-guilt, self-hatred, and now you feel like you have to go chase the next high by indulging within the culture again, and just continuing this overall negative cycle where you're not really loving yourself. You're not really loving the people that you're hooking up with. You're just kind of doing this over and over again to try and erase that feeling of loneliness that returns once the hookup is done. What I just really don't want is to people to feel that regret, to feel like they have to over-sexualize themselves to receive any form of connection with another person. Once again, this is just all my opinion, but I think that we as people just need to have more emotional and physical intimacy that's not just hooking up with someone else, just feeling more comfortable, feeling more at peace, and receiving more just gentle touches, gentle strokes, hugs, kisses, embraces, cuddles, just stuff that doesn't necessarily involve you having to like be vulnerable and, oh no, not be vulnerable, but expose a part of yourself that you can't really take back. And you're less likely to feel that self-regret and that self-hatred after you do something that doesn't really have as much of a effect on yourself, if that making sense. Like, if you hug someone and maybe you later turn out to hate that person, you won't feel as much guilt and hatred as if you hooked up with someone and then they hurt you later on, and now you feel much more negative emotions from that because you really gave up something bigger a part of yourself to that person that you can't ever really take back. And no, you can't take back a hug, but you weren't giving up as much of yourself when you were doing that hug, whereas if you were hooking up with them. You know, making out and hooking up with someone won't solve all your problems if you don't love yourself. And I'm going to preach this in like half of my videos because it's true. If you don't love yourself and you're trying to seek that love from other people, most of them are not going to have it for you because they themselves don't love themselves. So how are two people who don't love themselves supposed to love another human being? It's just not really going to work. It's not going to solve our problems. And y'all, I'm telling you, you don't want to get into this problem where 10 years later you feel such self-hatred and regret for what you did to yourself, wishing that you would love yourself more. I feel like time and time again, there are people who are on social media talking about during COVID or before COVID or in different parts of their lives, they over-sexualized themselves because they weren't receiving love, affection, attention for various different reasons. And then when all that was done, in the moment they felt like they had the power, but reflecting back on it, they felt disgusted with themselves because they were like, I didn't really know what I was doing, and I wish I had never done that. I wish someone had given me love and affection in a non-harming way, and now there's so much of myself that I gave up and I gave to other people that I can no longer take back, and I just don't want that for anybody else. Hookup culture just very simply isn't for everybody. If you find that indulging in yourself is producing these negative emotions, producing self-hatred, then for the love of everything, for the love of yourself, just stop. Not everyone is going to be the hot girl, hot boy. If it's not for you, if that life is not positively affecting you and is negatively impacting you in the long run, and you don't have enough sense to stop indulging in it, then you're just harming yourself, and no one can really stop you unless you decide to come to your senses and figure out your life. But don't indulge in it just because you see other people doing it. If you've never done it before and people are placing that pressure on you to do so, I don't know what to tell you. You kind of need to just get rid of those people. If other people are placing pressure on you to live the life that they're living, you just have trashy individuals around you, and you need to know yourself. You need to know if this is going to hurt you or not. This is really interesting because I recently had a conversation with a friend who was thinking about indulging in hookup culture, and I was like, do you really want this, or are you just feeling that like void in you from your relationship just ending with someone? You just got out of it was like a few months, I'm not sure exactly how long a relationship, but you just got out of a relationship. You don't really want to indulge in hookup culture. You just don't want to feel that loneliness, that void that happens when you're no longer interacting with a person on that level. You were receiving love and affection, and now that it's gone and you're feeling that hurt, you're like, oh, I need to fill this up as quickly as possible. No, you need to heal. You need to mourn or just come to terms with the relationship. You need to work on yourself. You need to just go through a moment of just being yourself. You don't have to rush into something else, whether it's a relationship or a hookup. You need to sit with yourself for a bit and really feel what you're feeling and let yourself get settled with that feeling as much as possible before you go and interact with more people in that way. And I'm always going to preach that because I know that I had to take some time, you know, in my own life to sometimes just reflect. Like, I don't need to really be in a relationship. I just need to exist. And that existing, I mean, if you've seen me, I've been doing a lot of things. I've been on the come up and I've been doing all that without having to be in a relationship. And of course, everyone feels lonely, but like, it's me. Like, hello. I have so many other relationships with people that are non-romantic that leave me feeling so fulfilled that I don't really need to have a romantic partner. There are people who are already giving me the love and affection, and I'm reciprocating that back and pouring back into their cups, and I'm chilling. Like, my stress in life is not from romantic relationships. It's from the 2,500 things that I'm sometimes doing and I just need to cut down on. But that's part of life. I'm transitioning into a new sector of my life, and there's going to be some stress about that. You know, if you don't know, I'm heading off to college. But back to the main point of the video. Sometimes you need that reflection period. Sometimes you need that hurt to kind of fuel some of the goals and motivations that you've had for your life. And now you can go and chase, like literally chase the bag. What I really want everyone to do is just to choose to take care of themselves and others more. Maybe if we had more compassion for one another, we wouldn't be in this age where hookup culture is just whoop-de-woo. And I don't mean to, you know, act like a mother or a grandmother, but some of us should not really be indulging in that culture. You're a child. You're a child. You're a child. You're a child. What are you doing? Please, guys. Kids my age are so scary. And I'm not trying to be a pick me, y'all are just sometimes really scary. And I don't know. It frightens me sometimes because I'm like, oh, like when I get to college, is everyone gonna be like, you Mormon, you Puritan? I don't really care even if they were. Like, I'm gonna live my truth. I'm gonna live my life in my truth. And unfortunately, nobody could ever peer pressure me because I'm just too stubborn. Like, oh, you're trying to force me to do something? Just because of that, I'm not going to do it. Try again another time. Matter of fact, don't try again because the answer is still no. No. Why would I ever let myself be wrong? No. I'm right even when you think you're right, because I could never be wrong. And you just need to have that sort of confidence. You just need to really feel comfortable within yourself in that way, and maybe then you don't feel the need to indulge. I don't know. Try that. Try taking care of yourself. Try loving yourself more and see if it makes you feel better. Obviously, I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not an emotional well-beingist. But I am that girl. So, you know, these are just my opinions and thoughts. I'm interested to know how you all feel in the comment section below. Let me know your thoughts. Am I putting y'all on, or am I talking a bunch of nonsense? Just let me know, and I will see you all in the next video.